The WP Get group presents another WP Train tutorial video. So frustratingly, using default WordPress settings for sending email, Gmail, Outlook, Microsoft 365, etc. send messages directly to junk. This tutorial will show you how to solve that problem. So we're going to use the WP Get website and we're going to install a plugin called postsmtp to solve the problem of mail going directly to junk. So what we want is when our forms on our website send emails to users, we want it to go to their inbox, not to their junk mail. And that's what this is all about. So we're already logged into the WordPress admin, so we're just going to go to the back end. And what we're going to do here is install the postsmtp plugin. So to do that, what we do is head over to plugins and click on plugins, then add new. In the search box we type postsmtp, and the first plugin it should find should be the postsmtp mailer/email log. Now this plugin is capable of sending mail in multiple ways: SMTP, Gmail, and a whole bunch of other systems. What we're going to do today is use the SMTP. We're going to send it using a username and password for a legitimate email address so that it solves the junk mail problem. Install the plugin. Okay, so now that it's installed, we're going to click the activate button to activate the plugin. And we'll see down on the left hand side there we now have postsmtp. So clicking on that, we can see it's ready to set up. First of all, what we need to do is set up an email address that we're going to use to send. So heading over to your cPanel login, we want to scroll down to email accounts, click on that. We want to create a new email address. So in this case, we're just going to call it WordPress. So that'll be, in our case, it'll be WordPress@wpget.net. We want to generate a password, and we're going to copy that. And we're going to put that into a notepad document so that we can use it for setting up the plugin. Now, we don't want to send a welcome email to the WordPress WP Get users, so we'll just untick that and hit create. Alright, so we can see we've got our new email account there. So what we need to do now is get the settings we need. So head over to Connect Devices and click on that button there. And we'll see that WordPress recommends, cPanel recommends using SSL for email. We don't need that because WordPress and the mail server are on the same hosting, so the username and password never goes outside to the outside world anyway. So we'll just use the non-SSL settings. And what we're going to do now is grab the email address and copy that and paste that into our notepad document for later. Head back over and we want to grab the outgoing mail server. And the SMTP port, so we're going to copy that as well and paste that into our notepad document. Now, just a note on the server, because WordPress and the email server are on the same hosting, we can either refer to that as the full URL, which is mail.wpget.net, or we can just call it localhost, which is much easier. For the settings that we're going to use, we'll just call it localhost. Alright, so head over and hit the start wizard on postsmtp and copy our email address that we just set up and paste that in. And you can set the name there if you want to, that's sending from, and hit the next button. We just leave that on localhost. Can change it to wpget.net if you like, but we'll just leave it on localhost and hit the next button. and it's checking to see that everything is available. Alright, now it's giving us the options. We're going to use the SMTP on localhost on port 587. And we're going to hit the next button. Alright, now we'll copy our email address that we created again. That would be the username. And paste that into the username field. And do the same with the password. So we'll copy that. Paste that into the password field. And hit the next button. Now this is the failover, so if it fails to send email, what do you want to happen? We're not going to set that up in this tutorial, but you can set it up to send a message to another email address, to push over, or to Slack if you wish to. But we're just going to leave that on its default at the moment. And again, this is only if it fails that it can send you a notification. So we just hit the next button. And we're done. So you can hit the finish button now. Right, the next thing we want to do is just send a test message. So head over to the link that says send test mail. Click that, put the email address in my case I'll send it to me, my email address, and hit next. And we look up the top there and it says it's successful, which means that the email went out correctly and it was configured properly, and this is an example of the email that I received. Alright, so if you like, you can head over to the all settings. You can see these are the settings that were set by the wizard. We can manually configure the fallback there. If the first email setup fails, try a second one. You can set your message settings logging, which is set by default to the last 250 messages, and some advanced settings if you wanted to have a look in there. And again, notification settings are where you want the notifications for failures to go to. So we're going to look at the log. Now, I've got a few here because I've had this already set up, but if you have a look at the last one I sent, which is test, it says it was sent and everything's all good. So we can view that message, and there's an example of the message that was sent to me. Now, if it failed, it will be in this log and it would say that it failed. And that might be because we've changed our password on the email account we're using, or it could be a fault with the server, something like that. But once you've resolved that, you can come back over to here, have a look at that message, roll your mouse over the message and tell it to resend the message. So the messages don't get lost. With WordPress default settings, if the mail fails to send, it just disappears and nobody knows about it. So that's another great feature about this plugin, is that you can resend failed messages if they fail to send.